In this video then I take a look at the 2009 animated Christmas movie A Christmas Carol, made by Disney. So without further ado, let's get into this review. To start off then, I think that this is the best adaptation of the book A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and as to me has everything, and is very entertaining. It's animated, it is one of the best adaptations because most of the other ones are quite boring and are live action. I'm not saying live action movies are boring, what I'm saying is the adaptation was a lot better and it suited more people like myself that doesn't like reading, so doesn't like the old style of movies like Scrooge, for instance, made in like 1970 something, in which focuses on trying to do it a more professional way towards the book, whereas this one takes it more of a cartoony approach but uses a lot of the same quotes that are in the book and a lot of the same sort of styles, if you like, and a lot of the same chapters and things like that. The story is exactly the same, it's just told in a more animated style to suit viewers like myself, in which prefer that sort of animated view on things, and that's what Disney are known for doing. If you look back, as Robin Hood, there's several live action versions of Robin Hood, but they did an animated version, and I personally believe that's the best version of Robin Hood. And they did it with Snow White as well, with their adaptation, and there's been several different adaptations of Snow White and several, like Cinderella and things like that. There's been several different adaptations from books, and this is just another example of how Disney have created a story into a movie. On the animation, I think it's quite crisp and quite good for its time. I know it was 10 years ago, but this was cutting edge at the time, and to me holds its own as one of the best Christmas movies in that sense because of the motion capture which was introduced, and it just delivered massively because the animation's fantastic, the story that goes with it is obviously fantastic, Charles Dickens best in my opinion, and it all just comes together really, really nicely. And I think Disney did a very, very good job here because Jim Carrey was easily identifiable as the ghost of Christmas past and the ghost of present, and yeah, and he also played Scrooge, obviously, and you could see his face on all of these characters. I thought he was brilliant, in which we'll get more onto later on. But I thought the way that Disney did that was very creative, and that I must admit that the motion capture thing needs to be used more in animation movies, as I'm not really seeing it in many other animation movies since this one. And I thought that it was very cutting edge, and that they should start to use that little bit of uniqueness that this movie brought into more animation movies. As we saw the likes of Colin Firth's face being implanted on Fred, and even Gary Oldman's character face appear onto Bob Cratchit. And I think those little things to identify and go, oh, that's Jim Carrey, oh, that's Gary Oldman, are very small things, but are very big things as well, as you can identify the actors and actresses that you really enjoy watching on telly, and then you go, oh, I'm interested here because it's different from other adaptations. No, just on animation though as well, I thought it was really cool how they added shadows and they went really into detail, not just with the motion capture, but with the whole movie as a whole, as we saw like shadows appearing which looked really realistic, and it almost felt like we were watching a live action movie when watching this, as the snow falling, the crumpled on the feet when Scrooge walking through a little bit of snow. We're seeing these little things happening, in which was very cutting edge, and I think he's very cutting edge to this time as well. And probably all the animation movies since have probably taken parts from A Christmas Carol, as it was so in depth with all these shadows and all these different aspects that make the movie more realistic, even though it is animation. And that is something that just appealed to me, because it was like, am I watching animation here or really, really high tech live action as sorts, or in between? I also thought that this movie captured the tone of what the story was at, in the part the story was at. As we see at the start, It's very gloomy, very dark, to present how Scrooge is. Very dark, very cold-hearted, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a very cold, dark London, and we're just seeing how the snow's falling and it's meant to be happy, jolly time. And there is people that's being happy and jolly, but as soon as Scrooge walks past them, it takes the tone down, it takes the mood right down. And through the first maybe 30 minutes of this, that's what it is. It's taking the tone down to build it back up in stages again. And it doesn't build up until Ghost of Christmas Past, where he's getting to take himself through some of the lighter times in his childhood and growing up, as we see him get happier when he's introduced with Fezziwig and his Christmas parties and things. And that was good. It brought the tone up. And then Ghost of Christmas Present brought the tone up slightly, made it more of a funnier element of things with Ghost of Christmas Present, as we saw him, Fred, taking the mick out of Scrooge. Obviously, it was to try to insult Scrooge, but it was done in a way that was light-hearted. So then it gets a little bit darker towards the end of Christmas Present, but then Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come is very dark again, to show if he doesn't change his ways, all jokes aside, a lot's going to go to shit. And that's what will happen. But then toward right at the end of the movie, where obviously changing the ways and changing what he's doing and changing his life, he's more in a jolly mood. Everywhere he's going, he's spreading the joy, he's spreading the positivity. And that's what I love about this. Disney really got the moods and the atmospheres right in the moments that counted, as there were dark spots to illustrate that it's gloomy, dark-hearted, but then they would improve the lighting on the things that were light-hearted, very, very jolly, and just to present the mood, which is very simple, but they do it very, very well. I also want to talk about how good Jim Carrey was in this movie, as I really enjoyed him in this movie, as we saw with the motion capture, like previously mentioned, his facial expressions, him really getting into these roles, bringing that energy that we know he's got from the likes of Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, where he's quite energetic in his roles, and even Ace Ventura for that matter, where he's energetic, bringing everything to his roles, and that's what he did in here. Even though this wasn't probably his cup of tea in what he is known for, the likes of his comedy element of things, he took the character of it on his back and just went, I'm running with this. I'm going to turn this into something different and elevate the character of Scrooge. And that's what he did. Massively, massively created something that, is the modern day A Christmas Carol, just from his performances as Scrooge. And you might be like, well, he's only done a voiceover. Yeah, he's only done a voiceover. But the motion capture that came with it showed Scrooge's actions, how grumpy he was, how the mood changes just by adding that motion capture of Jim Carrey in there really helped. And the likes of Bob Cratchit being played by Gary Oldman, that the tone of things getting happy and sad, he's good through that motion capture. And the likes of Colin Firth as Fred, I easily identified him as Colin Firth just from the facial expressions and his face, and that sort of things come together to create this movie, as it's all about the moods on different faces and all the emotions packed in. So I think the acting qualities in those three made this movie what it is. But yeah, I thought Jim Carrey, this was one of his better roles, because he had to do something, probably step out of his comfort zone a little bit, because this was a bit out of his depth in terms of a comedic characters that he's normally known for portraying. I'm not saying he can't do it, but I'm saying is that this was, if you'd looked at his previous movies and gone, actually, is this the role for you? But he stepped out of his comfort zone and delivered. That's what's good about this movie. To summarise this awesome Christmas movie and the best adaptation of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, I think this is a 7.9 out of 10 and a world-class film. Let me know down in the comments down below what your thoughts are on this particular movie, and if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to be alerted to all the new content this channel creates. And if you haven't already, go check out the other videos down in the description down below to check out more videos just like this one. And I shall see you guys in the next one. Laters.